My name is Geno Capone. Who here, by show of hands, who was at the first ever Tea Party? Remember the first ever one? Anybody? Was anybody there? And I say the first ever because I think it was on tax day, was it 2008, I believe? And I remember I went because I was so frustrated with what was going on. And I stood in the rain that day. I live in Hubbard, and I was looking for a tea party, and the only one I saw was in Sharon, Pennsylvania. So I went to Sharon, I stood on the bridge, I listened to a lot of people talk, a lot of good people, and they said, we're going to have an open mic, anyone that wants to come up. And I couldn't help it, I had to go up and say something, so I talked, and it was the first time I really got into any kind of talk about politics or anything like that. I'm doing this out of necessity, out of a need to correct the wrongs that are going on. And we know there's wrongs going on, even on the state level. And I was probably more like you because most of the talk that goes on here is about more national policies, federal policies. And that's where I was. And then when I got into this state race, I had to start really looking into what are the state problems because I don't really hear too much about them. But boy, there are a lot of state problems. Al and I were at a retired teacher association meeting the other day, and his competitor, in the 64th district, Tom Letson, said, really, there's no problems. There's no deficit in Ohio. We have a balanced budget. And I just thought, this is ludicrous. For a guy to stand up there when we have almost $8 billion it's going to face us, for him to stand up there and just look at the people, look at you and just lie. And I thought, how does a guy sleep at night doing that? I don't know. Because we have serious problems in Ohio. By the way, I'm in the 65th district, which is Hubbard, Brookfield, Liberty, Girard, McDonald, Vienna, Niles, Lordstown, Newton Falls. Might have left one out, but that's the area. So if you live in that area, you're in my district, 65th district. Today I was at Walmart and saw a woman that I've known for many, many years. She was very pessimistic. And this is usually an optimistic person over the years. Very pessimistic. Started talking about politics to me, I don't know why. And she said, you know, when I voted for the president, which made me cringe, she said, when I voted for the president, I thought I expected something different. And I said, you know what, you and a lot of people expected something different. I said, if you would have looked into this a little bit, you probably would have expected what was coming, because they were out there, they told us what was coming. Some people failed to listen. In fact, I almost feel like some people have, and maybe you can relate to this, a veil covering their eyes, and they just can't see, and I don't understand. You know, my wife and I get frustrated, and I'm like, why are people still for this current government, this current administration? How can you be? And you have to be frustrated. I mean, I'm so frustrated, and that's one of the reasons I'm running. I said, I have to stand up and do something. You know, I have to show my two children that you can complain, but you eventually, if you don't stand up and take a stand, then I'm just going to be one of those people just running my mouth and nothing happens. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm not that way. If I feel passionate about something, I'm going to get in there and try and do something. So that's why I'm running. It's, you know, one of the guys here said, totally engaged Americans, Tea Party, and that's the new Tea Party, totally engaged Americans. And I agree, but a lot of the talk today seems decisive, dissentive. I think the Tea Party should incorporate everyone that wants a conservative government. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what party you're from. I'm running as a Republican. I was a Democrat my whole life. I don't really care if you're a Democrat, Independent, Republican, whatever you are, what do you stand for? Ultimately, we have to run as something. And I felt most at home in the Republican Party right now. I felt my values were best expressed in the Republican Party right now. But because I'm running as a Republican, doesn't make me any different than any of you right now. I can easily be sitting, probably not front row, but I'd probably be sitting right there, very easily, because I've been there already. So anyone that thinks, oh, the Republicans are for the rich and blah, 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 you know what? I have a small business in Hubbard. I am not a rich person. I don't have wealthy friends. I come from a modest background. My father was a teacher. We had 6 kids in our family. I've known harder times than better times in my life. So this notion of that are in people's heads, yeah, I'm sure there are Republicans that are, you know, just for the uber rich. I'm not that person. If you get to know me a little bit, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yesterday, I was invited to hear an economist, which I'm not a big fan of these guys, but I went and I heard this guy, and he was on, you know, blah, 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 all these newspapers, he's been in magazines, he's been everywhere. And he has a PhD in economics and this and that. His entire speech started, I'd say 3/4 of it was very positive. Because what these guys do, they look at our economy and they look at the past so many years, and they could forecast by what's happened in the past. You know, the history is our best indicator of our future. And they can look at graphs from all our recessions and depressions over the years, and they can see things are happening right now which will make you conclude that we're going to be on an upswing. And he showed a lot of good information to prove that from past data. And about 3/4 of the way into this, I'm thinking, I think this guy was paid off by somebody, because I don't feel like we're in such a great situation. But then he did mention there are some factors that can throw all this out of whack because we've never faced them before. So we could look at all this history and all this data, but when you look at Obamacare, we've never seen anything like that. If you look at cap and trade, we've never seen anything like this, where you know, our costs are going to skyrocket. When you look at the Bush tax cuts, I'm not a fan of income tax at all. I'm a small business owner. I have to write that check out, and I hate it. I wouldn't hate it if I saw the government doing what they're supposed to do. But when you see the waste and the corruption, very difficult to sign your name on that check. My website, which is just my name, GenoCapone.com, you'll see a plan. You'll see actual things that I want to get done. One of the retired teachers, one of the questions they asked us, would you give us a exemption on our first $12,000 worth of income? And I said, you know what, I'd like to give everybody an exemption on their on all their income. I mean, really, if we look at what our goal is. But I said, I want to be truthful with you right now. I don't know if that's possible, because I signed a pledge not to raise taxes. If you don't raise taxes and you have an $8 billion deficit, you have to do something to correct it. The number one thing is get people back to work. Because when you get people back to work, money starts coming in. I've been amazed. I've lived in this area my whole life. We have Route 80 in our in our backyard. Hubbard has Route 80 in our backyard, literally. And why aren't there more businesses? Why aren't we taking more advantage of where we are located in the country and between New York, Chicago, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh? This area has great workers. I want to know why we've been ignored. I think I know. I think it's because the Democrats think they have us in our back pocket, and I tend to think the Republican Party thinks the Democrats have us in their back pocket. What I'm asking is that you all forget about the party for a minute. I want you to look at me as an individual. I want you to look at the plan that I have. I have literature in the back. And decide for yourself, is this someone that's going to work for me? Is this a guy that could be my next door neighbor? And is this someone I trust? Because I've never had trust for anyone that I've voted for. I've voted for people I thought I could trust, and then every time it seems like, they did it again. I trusted this person, and they did it again. There are term limits in the 65th District of 4 terms or 8 years. And I don't know, does anyone know who's currently in the 65th District as your state representative, besides John? Okay. I didn't really know who she was either. Sandra Harwood. I don't know why I haven't heard of her. I don't know why she's not speaking up. I don't know why she's not helping our area more. But boy, I tell you what, if I'm elected, you're going to know my name. Because I really don't care if I tick somebody off in Columbus. I answer to you people. And you are the boss. We're the employee. Things got kind of topsy-turvy over the years, where people think they're part of the Roman Senate and we're, peons. No, we run the show, and it's time that we let them know. So that's my plan. My plan is to be with you as often as you want. If I'm invited to this tea party, this specific tea party, if I'm elected, I will be at this tea party to meet with you. I would have nothing to hide from or run from. Every decision I make is going to be for the best of this area. I don't owe a business anything. We're a grassroots effort. All our money has come from individuals like you. I don't owe a business anything. I don't owe anyone anything, and it's a good place to be. So I ask you to please look at the literature. Ask me if we have time for questions. You can ask me that. Take a look at my plan and make a decision based on what I'm planning on doing versus the other 2 guys I'm running against. I thank you for your attention tonight, and I thank you for being here. A lot of things you could be doing tonight, but you plan on being here and taking that time to be here and listen to us. So I thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.